If reposted.
All right, Mr. Keller, I believe it's technically Star Wars 4, A New Hope, but that's the first one in most of our lives. But there's that scene where Luke and Obi-Wan are sitting playing some sort of chess game. And I believe Luke sees this funny face on Obi-Wan and he goes, "Did you fart or something?" And it's something like that. And Obi-Wan's, "No, no, no. I feel a disturbance in the Force." Having said that, Bill Gates said, often you have to rely on intuition. The Force, intuition. Are you someone who often turns to your gut and says, "Lead me and tell me what to do"?
Well, I don't understand the Star Wars reference, but we can get back to that. I don't rely on my intuition to lead me, but if I feel something, I'm going to follow it, right? So I've done it a few times. I moved to San Francisco when I was 6, which I would say followed my intuition. It was more of I was dating someone and I wanted to see where it went and I didn't want to regret it. I moved to LA kind of on an intuition. And if you like explore it, you have to use it a lot. Like I'm renovating this house right now and I have to use some intuition on whether I trust someone to actually do the work or not. Just residential construction is notoriously shady. And I've met with some people and I'm like, they're probably not going to do a good job, even though they're the right price. I use my intuition to move on. What about you?
Intuition's a funny thing. I like hearing, first of all, that you do use your intuition because I feel like you're a very, well, I have to compare you a lot to my wife, who's not intuition. She's very data bound.
Yeah.
So intuition doesn't come natural. So I love hearing that you do use your intuition. That makes me happy.
I want to point out she's an Enneagram 1 and I'm a 3. And so we have similarities, but we are pretty different. I just want to
well, everybody's different, but I feel like a lot of times when I have communication issues with you, I'm always like, oh, I can get out of this. I know. That's my intuition telling me like, oh, I know what to do. I know what to do here.
So you're saying you use your intuition to get out of trouble, not to lead you to more success?
No, actually, my intuition more often than not gets me into trouble, and then I don't know how to get out of trouble.
Yeah. Do you know the context of this quote? I didn't look it up, but I mean, part of was his intuition also can be subjectively defined. Like he stayed after school to work on the computer and like got him access to do other stuff. He had access to a computer. Maybe you can say it was his intuition to like get into computers, or maybe you could say it's his work ethic. I mean, I don't know how you define it.
It's funny you bring that up because back to circle that point. I mean, when you think of Bill Gates, you just think of this data-minded guy. Even now, when his foundation is all about data. Like he looked at the data and said, okay, what's killing the most people? And he went and tried to eradicate malaria. So it's funny that we're talking to him about in regards to intuition when he's mostly a data guy.
Yeah, I feel like I could make the argument that any invention was led by intuition. Like Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg was like making his hot or not thing website, and then he turned it into the social network that turned it into what it is.
Or he stabbed the Winklevoss twins in the back. But either way.
Yeah, I guess either way. I mean, do you think you rely on intuition? I mean, you said it gets you into trouble, but do you rely on it for life decisions?
I feel like I say this a lot, so I'll say it again, whatever, use it as a bingo square. I'm a middle child, so I typically walk into the room and try to figure out what's needed because of the dynamics in my family. There was my older brother, who's a typical older brother, and there was my sister, and I kind of had to be the kind of like, hey, everybody get along. So I think middle children, not universally, but come in and try to figure out what's going on in the room. Therefore, we don't come in walking and talking into a room. So we're kind of paying attention a little bit more. So I feel like our antennas are up a little bit more than other people. And so we're kind of observing the room. So you could say like, well, I just think we're trying to take in what's going on. And you could say that's intuition, or you could say that's silence, whatever it is. But we're just paying a little bit more attention to what's going on. So our intuition antennas are up.
So I think the way you just described what you do is like the textbook definition. I just looked it up. Intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. So maybe that definition applies to you more than it does me. And I just like to think that I use intuition, and maybe I don't.
No, I think, but the other thing, I think, the second part of intuition, right, is that I'm not a super deep dude. Like I can't memorize. I don't have a horrible memory. Um, I, I, I don't know what Nietzsche thought. I don't have a lot. So in turn, because I'm not that deep, I ask a lot of questions. Like my defense mechanism is to ask more questions. So I'm usually using those questions and trying to figure out. So I don't think intuition is that mystical. I think it's just kind of being the Sherlock Holmes and trying to figure out what's going on around you.
Is it something that you think is a valuable skill? Like, I guess I always ask you about how you apply it to your family. Do you wish your kids were relied more on that, or do you wish they relied less on it?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go with more. I think I wish because here's my point. I don't know if my kids are gonna fail, succeed, whatever, but I really hope that I'm raising them to trust who they are. Like I'm helping them develop who they are, bad and good.
Mhm.
And then as they leave, they trust who that is, who I've seen it and try to nurture it. And as they leave, they try to trust that part of them.
Yeah, I think it's really important. You need to be able to trust your gut to just be able to get through the world. Like you can do everything the right way, but some people you interact with are not going to be savory, and some people are going to be helpful.
Yeah.
And knowing how to navigate that, or just life in general, I think it's really important. Another name is maybe street smarts.
Yeah. I
Uh,
am not street smart, by the way, though.
you don't think you're
Just for the
street
record,
smart?
I'm not first.
I thought you
And
were a man of the city, Larry.
uh, also, I'm a really horrible poker player. So, like, my intuition on the poker table, like most people are, have you ever found somebody's tell? Like, literally, someone's tell at a poker table.
I don't
Yeah.
think I ever
So that's
have.
a myth, right?
I don't think that's a myth. I don't play poker to like specifically. I don't do it for a job. I do it for fun, and I think if I did it for a
Yeah.
job, I would explore people more. Explore is not the right word. Observe people more closely. I bet you I have tells, but I enjoy playing for the fun of it, not for taking people down.
That's the exact same conclusion when I was thinking about this. Like, I remember those poker games at your house. Like, I just had so much fun being there and drinking and laughing that I wasn't really like, and I'm sure maybe some person was taking it more serious and like knew my tells, like you said. But yeah, I was just having fun.
There was a guy that showed up once to that poker game who didn't have a sip of alcohol. He observed everyone and he won. He won. I don't know if he won a lot of money, but he never got invited back again because my intuition said this guy sucks.
He's out. He's out.
Well, if you want to play poker with Larry, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for the Pacheco Nuts saying thanks for stopping by.